as I told you last time I presented, I've been working on the history of the railroads in North America and some of the different aspects. And obviously Chicago, the trains are running all over the place with other people's other people's tracks. But I looked at Minneapolis and St. Paul because of the two cities. It's fairly complicated here, and so I started to get into each one, how each of the railroads got from one city to the other. And so that'd be interesting to look at that. This is a map of the Twin City terminals. So here's the Sioux line. Here's the Northern Pacific. That's orange,
Yep.
and the NP came over here, and then the Great Northern is blue, and then the Milwaukee is red. And those are really the four railroads that own track. Everybody else ran on these railroads. And so what I'm going to try to do is go through the major railroads that had facilities in St. Paul first, go through each one, and then Minneapolis. Now we're going to look across at the bridges that go in St. Paul, and we'll start down. We'll go upriver because there are a lot of bridges because of all the different railroads here. And the first one is the Rock Island Swing Bridge, which we talked about. We'll look at that one. And then the next is the Chicago Great Western, which was the St. Paul Bridge and Terminal Bridge, which is right by the sewage treatment plant down there. And then the Chicago Great Western had this lift bridge here. And then the Milwaukee has this bridge on their line that went down to Austin, Minnesota. And then they had a bridge at Mendota. So here's the Rock Island double deck swing bridge at Inver Grove. And I think a lot of us have driven across it. It was it was an experience. Um, but they used the trains were on top, and then on the bottom was a road and obviously not for trucks, but yeah, here we're going to drive across it back probably about in the 70s. I assume those people are fishing. They're probably walking out on the bridge and fishing. But here's the bridge. It's a strange looking beast, to say the least. Um, and then Greg posted this. It's a transfer run coming up on the Great Western after the Northwestern took them over with a huge train coming up from Marshalltown, Iowa. And this is downtown St. Paul. And this is the Great Western lift bridge over there. And here's a picture of a Great Northern transfer running across the bridge down to South St. Paul. Now the next bridge is the Milwaukee had this offset bridge that's down the river from downtown St. Paul, and this is the one that the Milwaukee used, which is obviously you can see it's now used by the CP here, but the Northwestern also used it. And so for some reason there was something about the land on the north side. They couldn't build a full swing bridge, so they had to build this strange looking thing with a weight on one side, and but it's operated for I don't know 100 years, so I guess it's a pretty good bridge. And this is the only thing I could find the Milwaukee Bridge at Mendota, but it looks like there's a second line there too, which I have no idea what that is.
Maybe
So
construction of the highway?
oh, could be. Absolutely. Yes. Very good. So that's the Milwaukee, and this is a construction bridge. Well, very good, Dan. Thank you. That's good. Okay, in Minneapolis, um, we have the original Northern Pacific Bridge, which I talked about, which where the line went through the campus. And then that moved up to bridge number 9, and then the Minnesota Western Bridge, and then the Great Northern Stone Arch Bridge, and then the Great Northern Bridge downtown Minneapolis across Nicollet Island, and then the Northern Pacific Mulberry Bridge, and then the Camden Bridge. So there's quite a few bridges. So first, we got it while we're getting into Minneapolis, we have to look at the Short Line Bridge, which was built later, and the Milwaukee comes across, and then they have this little yard, and this is the tower at 18th Avenue Southeast I was talking about. So they have they were doing transfers there, and so they'd come across the Short Line Bridge, and over to Lake Street, and then they go downtown Minneapolis. And then the Sioux has this Camden Bridge way up here, which we'll look at. This is a postcard of the Pioneer Limited on the probably about the turn of the century because it's Chicago, Milwaukee, and St. Paul coming across the bridge. The bridge was built in 1880, and I'm still amazed they still use it, and the cars are probably 5 times as heavy as they were then. This is the it looks like Hiawatha with a F7 Hudson on the front. Another postcard. This is a picture I took in early 70s of a transfer run coming across, and you're basically looking across the bridge there. Now he's climbing the hill into St. Paul. Here's another picture. They used to unload autos over in at Lake Street, and so they would haul auto trains all the way over there, and then later on they moved everything to Cottage Grove. So here, I mean, you think about this bridge. It's probably been beefed up a little bit from the original, but how much did the cars weigh in 1880? And here we got a 10,000 ton coal train going, and then another freight train passing it. So I mean, it's pretty impressive. Took this as after the Sioux Line merger, they were still hauling freights over the thing. Now, this is a good view of this is the Northern Pacific bridge I was talking about that went right through the campus, and then they built this one later on, the bridge number 9, which is still there. That's a walking path now, but it was double track bridge for a long time. The railway transfer yard is here. This is that Minneapolis Western Bridge, which Jim Hill built, and then the Milwaukee Depot is here, and then of course here's the stone arch. Here's the fast passenger main goes like this. So here's that bridge that went through the campus, and here's a side view of it. So it was I mean, big trains. Now here's bridge number 9 as it sits today. It's a walking path. I'm glad they saved it. And here's that John Hill picture of a Sioux Line train pulling out on it and then backing in, doubling the train. So here's it's kind of fuzzy, but it's the only picture I could get with everything. Here's the Minneapolis Western was here. This is the Portland Avenue Bridge. This is the Stone Arch Bridge. Here's St. Anthony Falls, of course, and then this is the 3rd Avenue Bridge, and then the Hennepin Avenue Bridge. Here's the Minneapolis Western again. And then later on, here's the piers for the Portland Avenue Bridge. This is the Stone Arch Bridge and 3rd Avenue, Hennepin Avenue, and then the Great Northern Bridge over Nicollet Island. I did not know when I found this picture that Minnesota had a centennial in 1958. Never heard about that. They had a centennial train. And here it's pulled by a Burlington E5 crossing the bridge. So that was kind of an interesting thing. This is a picture we've all seen, a Great Northern publicity shot of the Oriental Limited coming across with a P2 mountain locomotive. And here's another one of the early Zephyrs with domes, but they were still using the power cars from EMC. And this is that postcard of the 400. Greg took this, which is a great shot. If you think about the Stone Arch Bridge was built in the 1870s, and it was, here's a 10,000-ton coal train cruising across the bridge at about what, 30 miles an hour, Greg, something like that.
Yeah, he was moving right along. This is
Yeah.
also just a real quick your comment. This was after they realigned the tracks in the Great Northern Station so the wide vision cabooses could clear. Remember those?
Oh,
Remember they had to build track 10.5. So John,
I did not know that.
But yeah.
That's interesting. Okay. Yeah. But I mean, that's an impressive bridge when you think about it. 100 years old, and there were these huge trains across it. So it was impressive.
Heck of a flood too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then, of course, the Army Corps got in there and built this thing. I guess it could have been worse, but this is after Amtrak, obviously. But just to talk about that, I worked at the Riverside plant, and the city pressured us to northern states to buy coal from by barge. So we had to buy some barges every year so that they could have some traffic. They across the river they had this over here. You can see behind the crane. They built a little harbor there. What it was that there used to be a harbor underneath the Washington Avenue Bridge. That's where they unloaded coal and freight and all oil and all sorts of stuff. But they wanted to clean that area up and build the West Bank. So for the university, so they moved the harbor up here to 26th Avenue North. But it was such a convoluted process to get barges up here, that it wasn't really economical. And Northern States Power kind of balked at it, but the city puts pressure on you, so they use this to try to get lower rates because they kind of say to the railroads, well, we can use our barges instead. So they would get Illinois coal by barge from down by St. Louis, and they'd bring it up by barge and unload it. But it was they finally closed the thing down because there just was no traffic. Okay, the Great Northern Nicollet Island bridges and then the Mulberry Bridge. We'll look at those real quick. There's a Great Northern. It's an old steam engine pulling across the Nicollet Island, and there's a train coming in, probably a gopher from across Nicollet Island. And there's a Minneapolis Northfield and Southern train coming across. Again, to get the barges through, they had to build one of these things and take out the girders and put a truss bridge to get clearance like that. This is Camden Bridge on the Sioux line. They used to have a line like this because obviously when they would have trains from Shoreham down to downtown. There's this one, Dawn used this in a calendar shot. It's a right after Amtrak, and they were using Milwaukee equipment, everything on the trains. This is also the 35W bridge back there while it was still standing. There's a picture from the internet of Milwaukee units at the Great Northern Depot, and here's the Amtrak.
Got about 15 minutes, Ross.
Okay, we're good then. And this is when the SDP 40Fs were brand new. This is the builder leaving the depot for St. Paul. And here he is down at Hoffman Avenue. There's the Federal Reserve Bank that took out the Great Northern Depot. Progress. This is at Midway at St. Paul when the first superliners were coming in. So he's going down. That's right by the Minnesota Transfer engine house there by Cleveland Avenue, making the curve. They had to run. These were when they started using the F40s. Those had electric generators for electric cars, and they didn't have any steam, and so they had to run a couple of E-units as heater cars in the wintertime and other times because they were still running old heritage equipment, and you have units up front that didn't have any steam generators. I think this might be a Bob Ball photo of right at Oakland. Nice picture. This is Bob's. And this is the Borealis now.
Going back to that picture at Kellogg, can you go back to that, Ross?
Tell me how far to go
There,
back.
that's the picture right there. I was just wondering about the picture at Kellogg. It looks like a three-pronged blivet there. Go forward a little bit
Forward a
to
little bit.
yeah, there, that picture right there. That's the Borealis. It's at Kellogg, and that's the old Highway 61 bridge. And I was wondering if anybody has pictures from that bridge, because that would, all the mainline traffic that went down there in the old days, that would have been a great shot. But I've never seen a shot from Kellogg there.
No,
So
no.
looks
And
like kind of a three-pronged blivet, but there you go.
It looks like one of those things. If you ever saw the movie Tron, remember those things?
Yeah.
Those.
Anyhow, thank you. That's it.
No, thanks for that. Thanks for letting me use your pictures. That was great.
Oh, that's fine.
Beautiful picture.
Thanks.
I assume that's the Borealis.
Yep. First day.
Wow, that's neat. So some things don't change with all this. I mean, the tracks here are basically the same, except that as we saw in the picture, the condition of the track is so much better than it was back then. Because in the 60s and 70s, it was the accountants came up with the idea of deferred maintenance. Well,
Whose shot is this?
Mine.
Bob's? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's mine from the bridge that I had to climb up on. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is a great shot. It's a beautiful shot.
It's like the Portland section of the builder.
Nope. That's a 808 shot, I believe.
Okay. That would make sense.
What's 808?
That's a short train that would run from St. Paul to Chicago when the builder was so late.
That's right.
That people had to make a connection in Chicago, so they ran it for them, I believe.
Okay.
That's right. That's right. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's nice. I got stuck on one of those back in about 20 years ago, and they put us on a bus, and the bus was freezing in wintertime. Oh. Now this is the Midway, right?
That's Midway. Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
cool. Is this yours, Bob?
Yeah, that's down obviously at St. Croix, from one of those great rail fan spots there, where you climbed up on because of the flood, they raised the electrical cabinets or whatever those things were.
Okay.
So there were
Now,
great
is he on
spots.
the, I was talking before about, is this the Milwaukee? He's on the Milwaukee there?
He's going up the hill by 3M, not over to what am I trying to say?
So this is the Q.
Yeah, I can't.
I think he's bound on the Milwaukee at the moment, about to cross over.
Yeah, it's a queue on the left. The
Right.
previous picture was the 50th anniversary Amtrak train.
That's correct.
Yep, that's right.
50th anniversary. So this guy has come down the Milwaukee. He's gone to St. Paul Park.
That's correct.
Over the hill.
Yep.
And this is the Q line that
goes to Curry.
Yeah.
That goes to Curry. Yeah.
Okay. And so this line is a lot steeper.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. That's a great shot.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's see. This is at Newport, right? Right by Newport.
Yep, not my shot, but yet that's where it is.
Probably Mike Cleary. I brought some pictures from him too.
That's my shot. Yeah.
Now, another example of a 100-year-old bridge with trains that weighed probably 5 times what the original ones did. I mean, they really put a lot of safety factor into those old bridges. It's impressive. I guess they're going to have to rebuild it now. Somebody told me that the river is scouring underneath the pilings down here, and so they're going to have to do something about that. But you look at that. I mean, it's an old bridge. And look at what are those SD 90s or 9043s or whatever they are. Just that's impressive.
Well, if you go up and look at it up close on the city side, that you can see extensive rot and corrosion in the structure.
And there's plans for a drawbridge, regular old
From what I've heard, a lot of these bridges, they've retrofitted and upgraded their ability to handle weight. But I think the most interesting one is the Erie-Lackawanna-Starukka Viaduct out east. That was built in 47 or 48. And they didn't know quite sure what the structure could handle back then, so they overbuilt it. And of course, it was handling a double track modern freight railroad main line in the 80s, 70s, and 80s, but they had kind of overbuilt it.
This is down at Newport in the 90s. Oh, I guess that's it.
Been a nice show. Thank you very much.
Wonderful show, Ross. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Ross.
Thanks for all the research you did on that, Ross.